We'll go ahead and get started and jump into our first presenter, which would be the adventurer, and we'll go ahead and let the person present.
Thank you, Brian. AdventureVue. Perfect.
All right, you guys let me know if you can see the screen.
Yep, we can see it. Thank you so much. All right. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. I am Jim Sparks, and I'm pleased to introduce Ricardo Pagano. We are the co-founders of AdventureVue, the marketplace that turns activities into adventures.
And hello, everyone. I'm Rick, and this is me. 1 year ago, overlooking Rio de Janeiro. I loved that adventure so much that I promised myself I would find an indoor climbing facility when I was back in Italy. And guess what? I never did. To date, I haven't climbed anything again up to that day. She's Sandra, that's her family, and she was here on a trip to a science museum when she realized how much fun and learning that was for the kids. She promised herself she would have proposed more crafting and science activities for them, only to forget 1 month later and leave them in front of the TV. Finally, Jim and Kelly, you might already know the guy. Beautiful couple waiting for the right occasion to go to the opera house. They have the time, the money, they can find all the information online, but still they haven't done it in years. So what do we all have in common? Why is it so hard to take initiative and engage with services and activities even when they're right around the corner? This is how it usually goes. We lay down on the sofa, waiting for the right occasion to fall into us magically. What that means is that our intrinsic motivation is not high enough for us to purchasing the service we desire, even if we committed to the idea. What we need to cover the extra mile is an external factor. It could be a monetary incentive like a discount, but businesses don't want to sacrifice their margin to restart the economy because pandemic already tightened the belt for too long. The alternative is to offer a unique, exclusive experience connected to their services. And that's what we do at AdventureVue, because you can say no to an activity, but you cannot resist an adventure.
So AdventureVue was born from Global Startup Weekend, COVID-19 edition. This was an event that asked thousands of people to come up with new ideas of how to react to the pandemic. And the specific problem that Ricardo and I decided to tackle was, how do we drive positive economic outcomes for local businesses and service providers in the arts, tourism, and hospitality sectors? Our solution is a new, highly interactive adventure platform that gamifies these interactions within your community. Our customers are the locally owned businesses that desperately need to bring paying customers to their doors. Our technology platform delivers these customers directly to their business, including restaurants, retails, museums, nonprofits, and other hospitality-oriented establishments which have been hit so hard by this economic downturn. And our revenue model, it's an advertising model very similar to radio, but instead of delivering talk shows or news or music, we enable local storytellers to deliver adventures with a broad range of add-ons that will create value for the players and revenue within the community. Our stories connect the dots between a storyline and one or more locally owned and operated businesses. The story becomes an adventure by including interactions with live actors, the ability to solve challenging logic puzzles, and this ongoing task of completing missions. And these adventures may last for 1 or 2 days and can last even up to a week as players become immersed in a mixed reality of online and live challenges and experiences. For example, one adventure may include an at-home science challenge, a trip to a restaurant to uncover a hidden clue, and even a high excitement thrill ride such as a jet ski chase to capture an alien invader. While Cat Country may show up at Drowsy Poet with their mascot for a remote broadcast, AdventureVue will show up at your establishment with actors and mysteries that will create positive and long-lasting memories for customers and players alike. So we now invite you to go down the rabbit hole as Ricardo shares our first adventure with you.
So based on the feedback of our mentors, we decided to focus our first adventure and MVP on Sandra and their child, the target of young families, by launching a family-friendly adventure that encourages kids to socialize and educate them in a safe environment. For this story, dinosaurs will take over the planet, starting from Pensacola. And if you're careful enough, you will notice that they already invaded our Zoom call. So this is how it works. We have rabbit holes. Those are the entry points into the adventure. You can find about us in several ways. You might find one of our flyers spread around the city in strategic points, or attend a live show after a movie at the drive-in pop-up movie tour in Pensacola, or receive a special wrapping paper when you order something at one of our partner restaurants that contains a logic challenge that gets you into the adventure. So this is marketing to us, but doesn't feel like it to our players. That's why it's so powerful. It's already blended into the story. That means that there is no friction at all to get into the adventure, and it's all triggered by genuine curiosity. It's a scavenger hunt managed via a chatbot on Telegram. So all the rabbit holes channels you towards the conversational interaction in this chat that you can have with Jurassic Joe, the scientist who's protecting humanity from dinosaurs. While he's gonna move on with the storytelling, hint by hint, you will also teach the kids about science, history, and many other topics, and drive families to consume at our key partners. By the end of the adventure, kids are gonna have taken a treasure hunt at the Shop and Drive market in Pensacola to procure the ingredients for a volcano, learn how to build one using science, and improve their athleticism playing the floor is lava. But most importantly, they're gonna have learned the importance of frugality, how to interact with the community in a safe way, and to be entertained in an offline creative mode. Like a real life movie, every player will interact with actors in dinosaurs costume, other explorers, and a scientist that will drive them and help them during the challenges towards their mission. And in the end, we're also gonna have a live science display that will add to the adventure a satisfying ending. Or is it just the beginning?
AdventureVue is not the only new company entering into this place-based entertainment field. We even have a couple of competitors that have raised substantial angel and venture capital from places like Techstar and Y Combinator. So you can see there's a growing market for these safe, socially distanced activities. However, what our competitors are providing so far are just games and scavenger hunts. AdventureVue does this, but also adds a creative layer with our stories. And we drive actual demand for businesses while providing a bridge to a return to whatever the new normal is going to look like. So AdventureVue is a new funnel for businesses that relies less on selling and instead creates a trail of breadcrumbs that guides players directly to their establishments. So we believe that AdventureVue is the future of place-based interactive entertainment that drives positive economic outcomes for our communities. And with that, we welcome your questions.
If you have any questions, you can feel free to raise your hand, or you can have the ability to unmute as well. I think, David, you're going to be checking for those, right?
Ricardo, I think you can stop the screen share.
Indeed.
Sure.
What are the costs that are associated with maybe buying your services, or how would someone buy this or get involved?
So we're very early in this adventure of our own of creating this. The model is going to be very similar to radio as far as views and actual activities on site. The cost to a customer, we're kind of expecting it to be around $300 to $500. based on an amount of exposure that we'll be providing to them. And then there'll be additional costs that come from adding on additional things. Like if we show up at your place with the 50-foot dinosaur, which we're actually looking into, you know, it'll cost more than if we just stick a couple of flyers in your business.
Okay.
If I can add on that,
Are there vertical markets that you could see pursuing, or that might be appropriate for the business? I'm sorry, Rick.
don't worry.
The vertical markets are our early entry. We're definitely interested in the restaurants, retail. Well, restaurants and retail is our primary early entrance. We think there's a real need for them and a demand. And while we're not really interested in sending people into businesses, we want to get them to the curbside pickup and get them engaged with the companies in a way that's safe for the players.
And do you feel that this might be a little more sticky than conventional promotions? I mean, why this? Why do you think this would be valuable for a business?
Rick, do you want to answer that, or do you want me to?
Sure. So I think what we try to explain is that when you add a creative layer on top of the activity, you can actually get all those warm leads that you didn't manage to convert earlier on. There are many people that we interviewed in our customers interview that we figure out they have a lot of activities in their wish list, and they still don't get the right occasion. When if we, for example, suggest them, imagine you would receive, you've been recruited as a secret agent from FBI. They're sending you to that activity that you never dare to actually engage with. Would you do it this time? And people is so much more engaged when you provide the storytelling. So actually starting from the kids, help us to realize that in the same way that for kids to engage them into activities, you have to provide a story, adults are not that much different many times. There are so many things that you would do with a story you wouldn't do without a challenge and a mission, because that's how actually us as a human being, we are motivated. And sometimes we are not enough motivated to find the motivation intrinsically. That's what we're adding, and that's why we can drive people to businesses.
Yeah, following up on that, if you think about a radio station and you're listening to, pardon me for not knowing who's popular right now, maybe Katy Perry or Billie Eilish, I think is current. And so, yeah, so let's say Billie Eilish, who apparently is a person. The music is playing, and then it cuts into an ad, and it's like, oh, get your hamburger from Voodoo Barbecue, not your hamburger, obviously. Get your ribs and meat from Voodoo Barbecue. And then it goes back to the next version of Billie Eilish. That story will be wrapped around the entire message. And so you won't be just going to get a piece of meat from Voodoo Barbecue. You're going to be going to that location to figure out how they're engaged in this puzzle and this challenge that you're trying to solve.
Hey,
Michael has a question.
How laborious is this from you guys' perspective? Do you have to have somebody at every restaurant, or do you have to, how does that work?
So we are focused primarily on providing a platform, a technology platform that is really a multi-sided marketplace that provides access to the restaurants, retail, and other businesses that want to be advertisers, as well as the creative community, right? So the actors and the videographers and photographers that can add real value to these events. And so the labor is ultimately on the game master, the person that's telling the story. So if I can use Julie as an example, hopefully. Julie is doing, actually I'll give her a shout out. Julie's doing ghost tours right now, some historical tours in Pensacola. And so she, in our platform, would be considered a game master. She would use our platform to add a layer of mystery, some logic challenges, and a revenue model outside of simply a customer paying them. And if she decides that she wants to have live actors involved in the game, the platform will enable that without any real friction on our end, but she'll be responsible for including the dinosaurs to come running out of the event, essentially.
Got it. And so this is kind of like make your own Pokemon Go at your place. Cool. Just making sure I'm understanding.
Yeah, the businesses don't have any real work to do in this, right? They are the recipients of the work of others. So for the storytellers, the people that create the stories, they're creating their own Pokemon. We're providing a way for them that not every single storyteller has to know Rick West from Voodoo. They don't have to know Scott Zepp from Graffiti Pizza. They don't have to know Mike Silver from the Drive-In Dudes, right? Like, we provide those connections, and then we simply send out a request to those saying, hey, we want to add you into this story. It's going to cost this amount of money. Are you interested? And shop it out.
Follow up. This might be too much, but are you imagining, since it's a platform, am I as a user going to download the AdventureVue platform and then see just all the different opportunities, or am I going to download the Voodoo Barbecue Adventure app? Or am I missing it?
Yeah, Rick, do you want to take that?
Yeah, so as a marketplace, we actually have two parts of the business. One, which is the creation platform that will support the game masters, while there's going to be a customer app where they can access all the stories. And we have a vision for that. We want to build a universe that while you move around the city, you can interact with different characters as you just met them in a sort of happen dating app where you get to meet the story. And if you got interest, that triggers you getting into the adventure. So I don't know if you ever watched Westworld. Westworld is a TV show where they built a Western environment with androids and actors that propose you missions, and you can choose which mission appeals to you. That's what we're gonna become. You're gonna get to meet different characters and just engage with the ones whose story and activities appeal to you.
Thank you.
Brian, you had a question?
Yes, sir. So when do you expect to have this go live as far as a start time to get things heading in this direction?
So our pilot, we're going to try to do it within the next 4 to 6 weeks. We're really trying to do it in September to get some feedback, and then the actual business side will come long after we get feedback from pilots and test runs. We're probably going to do 2 pilots in September, one with a dinosaur theme, and then we're going to try to do something with the tall ship that's coming to town to do a pirate adventure for the kids. And we're working with people like Inertia, the after school science people, to do the science side of some of this stuff and to create some of the live experiences. And so those pieces are all in place. We've got the businesses in place. The thing that we're missing right now is the first event, right? The location. Originally was going to be a drive-in movie theater, but kids don't stay up until after dark at 8 o'clock for movies. So we're still solving that challenge. So if you know of any kids event that would love an add-on, we would love to know about it. David, I think sorry, did that answer your question, Brian? David, you had a question?
Yeah, just a couple comments. So it's a really cool idea, and I just had a couple thoughts. I guess as you engage and get other businesses to participate, how do you ensure their kind of compliance? You know, I think logistically you don't control that business. So what if a family goes there, but then so-and-so employee kind of forgot about it, it's been a week. So that's just something to think about. And then I was wondering, is there any social aspect to it? And, you know, anytime you gamify something, you know, it kind of creates a new spin on it, which is really neat. And I think Peloton's done a great job, but they've also done a really good job building the community around that. So is there anything you can do with this that might add a social aspect that may connect some families and and folks that are interested in this?
Yeah, Rick, I'll answer the first question. You can answer the second question. So
Okay.
as far as the quality control, every community, our goal is to scale this pretty rapidly and pretty far across the country, potentially outside of the country. The quality control, there will be almost, I hate to say the term traditional structure, but there'll be a local manager who knows the community. There'll be a regional manager that oversees these things. And then there's also going to be a pretty in-depth rating system so that when there are adventures or adventure tellers, storytellers, or restaurants that aren't participating adequately, we'll get that feedback pretty quickly and self-correct. But all of these adventures, one thing that makes us quite a bit different than a lot of the competitors out there is that these adventures happen in a real period of time, right? These aren't hop in, hop out, oh, I'll do it next month. Like, these things happen like the week that the tall ship is in Pensacola. And so we have the ability to have oversight of these adventures because they're happening in a short duration.
And adding on top of that, so just to explain our entrepreneurial team works, we realized that to launch an adventure as such, there are two kinds of souls. One which is the creative soul, and one which is more a project manager. And Jim is a great project manager. I'm more of a game master. So together we work very well together. And where does the creation platform comes from? From the idea that game masters not necessarily are also great project manager. And by using our platform, they can compensate this lack of skills. So what the platform will do is gonna help them with the operations and with the coordination with the actors and the businesses, getting the feedbacks, iterate the feedbacks, and replace eventually the businesses that don't deliver the quality they expect. And it's also on the game masters to plug challenges and puzzles that can be that requires very little involvement from the restaurants. For example, as we are including the partner restaurants now, it's all delivered through wrapping paper. So we just give them instruction that when they come with a special password, they will get a wrapping paper with the instruction and the logic puzzle that get them back into the Telegram on chatbot. And to answer instead, the second question was about the social aspect. How do we keep them engaged and loyal? And our vision is to get them engaged with the platform so that they don't just consume one adventure, but they are a frequent buyer of adventure. Still when they are visiting their local town, but also when they go abroad or in a different city to discover the city in a more engaging way. And we're going to do that through having a storyline that crossover with the rest of the universe of characters, so that you still get engaged moving on with the story of a different character that actually get together in a bigger master plot, if you want to. And the other thing is that we are that can also improve that part of our business is to deploy our in-game currency that they can spend around the businesses that give us more control over the transaction and also more bargaining power when we're gonna have a big brand and dealing with the partnership with the businesses.
Thank you, Ricardo.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Ryan, let me just read, definitely shout out to the pop-up movie tour. A lot of this was inspired when Mike popped this up and Marcia asked about tapping into acting students. You know, absolutely spend a lot of time with the theater department at UWF specifically. And a lot of this is like, we know the theaters are hurting. Acting students need experiences. And we really are looking forward to putting that type of individual into productive activities. So with that, I do see Sean Spence joined us. Brian, I will hand it back to you. Thank you all for your time.
And the last thing we have to ask is there anything that the community can do for you?
Oh, Naturally, the great question. Very quick answer. If you know of events that are happening that may benefit from having this add-on to it, right now we really aren't charging the businesses. Don't tell anybody. We're really just trying to get feedback and experiences. So if you have a live event or other event that you think might be benefit from having a story added to it to get it some publicity, please let us know. And certainly if you do know businesses that you think might be interested in being a recipient of the people that are playing these games coming to their businesses, please do let us know. Really do appreciate your time. Thank you.